That is not as comfortable as I was hoping it would be. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever it may be. I hope you're having a bloody wonderful day. I was just down a little bit further from this cliffside. Thought I'd found the prime position, got myself all set up, and then went to sit back down, realized there was actually a big old crack right where I was sitting, and it was about to crumble right over the mountainside. So thought I'd better reposition myself, be a little bit more secure, and see what I can do here. So got myself back in a great location, and ultimately this is a gorgeous spot, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've really spent an incredible amount of time along this cliffside checking it all out. I mean, when I really was getting into photography, this walkway bridge, which is just behind the camera here, it's been here for almost 4 years now. I remember beforehand when I used to come along this cliffside and just really appreciate what it actually had available here. And why this is relevant is when it was being built, there was a lot of, I guess, skepticism around it. A lot of people were uncertain of what it would actually entail, what it would do for Newcastle as a whole, and that is entirely based on how we perceive things. That is our perspective. So what I'm really wanting to, I guess, discuss is the idea of where perspective stems from, what it actually can provide for you, whether it's going to be something that's positive or negative, how you can remold that into something that's going to be a lot more positive for the way that you actually perceive things in the future and your entire outlook, to be entirely honest. So there's also a little bit more that I really want to get into, which is about, I guess, the mentality side of things and what it can really offer for you to. But more so, to begin, I really want to, I guess, ask you a question of what is perspective to you? What do you really see perspective as? I mean, for a lot of us, it's something that I don't think we really recognize of how much of an impact it really has, based around, I guess, what we personally interpret and how we actually see things that come through our life. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, I think that the way that we do perceive things, the perspective that we actually have, that really solidifies the foundation of our interpretation and how we actually see things, but our mentality as well within that. And I really believe that, getting back to it, this structure was based around, you know, being able to provide a ton for not only those who actually are within the area, but also the tourism side of things. People being actually able to come through here, and I guess having an extra icon to really appreciate and adore. And, you know, it's looking over this incredible coastline. Like, it is absolutely phenomenal, but there was still always going to be that percentage of people who said, you know, it's not going to be great, it's not going to be, you know, everything that everyone hypes it up to be. And that is simply going to be based around their personal interpretation and their perspective. But I really think that it's important to actually acknowledge that if you really actually reshift the way that you do perceive things and always allow it to be interpreting the positive out of the situation, that will allow you to have such an incredible amount of optimism within that which comes throughout your life in the future. And I really believe that if you can actually implement some of those solidified foundations, it will offer you an incredible amount for your own mental strength and well-being for the future. Getting a bit of a crowd. There's a lot that goes into it, and I think that it's important to acknowledge where the foundations can stem from. But ultimately, if you are able to really interpret that in a way that you can really provide yourself with the opportunity to actually put that in place, I really believe that that will offer you an incredible amount of value. Getting through that, I guess, there's the idea of two types of mentalities, whether that be the scarcity mentality or the abundance mentality. And I think that often it's easy to really slip into sometimes the scarcity mentality, and that can really be from a whole range of different things, but sometimes it can actually come from what's within ourselves and what's going on within our own lives. And sometimes it may actually be affected and impacted by potentially our own self-esteem, the way that we interpret ourselves, and the way that we may think that we're going to be interpreted by others, those around us. So I really think that if you can allow yourself to acknowledge that, see where the abundance side of things actually comes from and what it can actually offer to you, I think that they can go really hand in hand and provide you with that level of optimism, but also be able to provide you with an incredible amount of opportunities, and some that you may not actually be able to really acknowledge for yourself right now. So if you see things with a scarcity mentality, that's where you kind of interpret it and opportunities around you to be in such a small amount. There's only certain amounts for particular people, but if you see it in an abundance mentality, that's where you'll really be able to see that, you know, there is this one opportunity, but there will be another. And if something doesn't work with one, there's always going to be more that actually comes from that. And I really believe that when it comes down to it, if you see things with an abundance mentality, that is going to provide you with the chance to actually be grateful for those opportunities that do arise. Because half the time, if it comes up and, you know, whether it be a mistake or you don't really present yourself in that opportunity the way that you really like to, you're able to go through and re-represent yourself in the future. You'll see those things come up and you'll really be able to jump at them. I really think that it's just about actually knowing that there is so much more out there. Like, I think there's a book called, I'm pretty sure it's The 7 Habits of Success, and one of them acknowledges the scarcity and abundance mentalities. And I think it was saying something along the lines of, you know, the most successful people have an abundance mentality. I don't think it at all has to do with success unless you're determining success to be those who are most happy. Because I think that really when you're in a scarcity kind of mentality, you're really only thinking about yourself. You're really closing yourself off from everything else around you, and you're not allowing what is available to be presented to other people. Like, whether it be simply, you know, holding on to your money, not really being able to present admiration and appreciation for others, being able to, I guess, see things and interpret them in a positive way for other people. It's really when you close yourself off so much that you can't actually be able to give praise for other people. And ultimately, I believe that when you are able to actually offer that admiration to others, it really can provide you with so much more, I guess, so much more of an optimal quality of life for yourself. You're going to really interpret everything in a much greater way. And I believe that getting through to it as well with photography, obviously what I really, am extremely passionate about, what I'm really doing. So often there's people within this scarcity mentality that think, so many people are already doing this that I'm not even going to try, or I'm not going to give it a go. And often that comes from, our own, I guess, self-conscious issues where we may not want to put ourselves up for potential failure, whether we have that fear of failure or we don't think that we're able to really get to that level of success that we really desire. I think that it's important to actually put yourself in the position where you acknowledge that there's always going to be an incredible abundance of opportunity for all of us, and if we actually implement that into our own personal day-to-day lives and we see things with an abundance mentality, that's going to offer an incredible amount. Like, I really do believe that. And whether it be for opportunities or just simple day-to-day tasks, it's incredible how much it can really remold and reshift your perspective to interpret things in a positive way. It's really taking on board all of these different pieces of the puzzle that I'm going to continue to acknowledge, but I really think that those kind of psychological things really can offer you an incredible amount, like more than I can begin to describe. But with the photographic industry, with any kind of artistic, I guess, creative industry, so many within it are so worried that there's such a limited amount of opportunities out there, whereas if you actually allow yourself to interpret it in a way that there's actually more out there, you'll be surprised by how much it really can provide you with this extra motivation to go out there and really give it your all. I really think that we can get so caught up in it and so worried, and then worried that we might make a mistake or do something wrong, that we don't actually give it our all. We don't interpret ourselves to be everything that we possibly can, and then we don't really push ourselves to actually be who we are, because we want to try and fit this mold because we think that that's what people want to see. But if you actually allow yourself to be exactly who you are, that will provide you with so much more personal fulfillment, an appreciation for yourself, but it's also going to offer you the chance to really incorporate that into the opportunities that do arise. Like if you put yourself into the position where you really are appreciative and you're proud of the qualities and characteristics that make you who you are, based on all of those previous experiences, those perspectives that you've really, I guess, acknowledged within yourself, I think that is what will really allow you to actually stand a little bit away from the crowd and really continue to flow upstream, while so many people are just getting pushed downwards into this scarcity mentality, where there's just going to be a pot of people at the end of the stream trying to go back upwards when you're already up there, because you've already shifted your perspective into being optimistic, grateful, and really appreciating those opportunities that do arise, but not being afraid to actually offer that to somebody else if you feel that they may, need it more or really be able to gain more from it. I really just think that you've really got to be able to actually interpret that real abundance mentality into who you are, and being able to really embed that within your mindset. I really think that it's incredibly powerful to actually take on board and really implement in your own personal day-to-day life. Like, perspective really is everything. It is incredible how much it actually can shift your mindset and who you are and what opportunities arise for you in the future, because ultimately if you perceive things in potentially a pessimistic way or a negative way, you're not giving yourself the greatest opportunity to live your own personal optimal quality of life, but you're also not being able to present yourself with that positivity that you personally deserve. And I think that those kinds of things, if you can really interpret it all and then put out optimism and be able to present that to others as well, I really believe that is an incredible quality that if you acquire and are able to really interpret and present, it will provide an incredible amount of value, not only for yourself but those around you. And if you are able to just kind of incorporate a few of these positive perspective aspects and elements into your own day-to-day life and the way that you do interpret things and see things around you, I really think that that's going to give you the optimal quality of life that you personally desire and that you really deserve, more so than anything. Perspective, it's incredible how much of an impact it really can have, and sometimes we aren't able to actually acknowledge how, I guess, detrimental sometimes it can be to us. So I guess just being able to really analyze that and recognize it as well, it can present you with that abundance mentality, and it also will provide you with an abundance of opportunities as well. Because once you see that there are more out there, you'll be able to take it on board and then run at them and give it everything you've got. Be able to be entirely yourself and then put that out there, because you're not worried about potentially not succeeding in those realms. But I really believe that when you are actually doing that, that will be recognized, and people want individuals. They want people who are going to be themselves, that aren't afraid. I really think that if you are able to really put that into your own self and your own mentality and just shift it just a little bit. I mean, a lot of what I'm looking to present is based around perspective. It's around psychology, psychological aspects, and my own personal, journey, I guess you could say, within those realms, so that I can hopefully be able to offer just a little bit more to others and to you personally, so that you're able to actually incorporate it into your life and be able to live to your optimal quality of life that you really do deserve. Because this is what's really helped me with my perspective, the way that I interpret things, and it's really providing me with an abundance of gratitude, optimism, pride, appreciation, admiration, all of those kinds of things. So I really want to be able to provide that to as many people as I really can, because I think that they're the kind of foundations that offer you so much more for your future and really provide you with so much positivity. That'll probably do me, I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to appreciate the afternoon, the beautiful sunset, Often I'll be shooting, you know, clouds, incredible structures within the clouds, different patterns, different formations. I really love idolizing on those characteristics, but sometimes when it gets down to it, you've just got to really appreciate what is actually on offer and just enjoy it. I think that's a really, really important thing to take on board. Be grateful for it. Alright, I appreciate your time, and I will most definitely catch you on the flip side. Farewell.